arrived in Granada and it's 40 degrees. Granada. I assume everything's closed and very quiet, given it's Saturday at 4 o'clock because it's peak sun and people essentially don't want to melt and die. Walking through the streets of Granada, seeking refuge in the shaded streets of the old historical town of Granada. It's about 40 degrees in the sun. It's absolutely hot as. Fancy some sweets? No thank you. They look good, but they're not good, are they? See what else we can see. Kinda reminds me of someone, that. That's the cathedral, I believe, behind there. Big fat cathedral. We'll go see that momentarily. I think this is a little bit more my style. A little bit more smaller town vibes. It's still a big place, Granada, but it gives off a bit of a better vibe than Malaga to me. You might prefer Malaga, but for me, I quite like this. I need to get out of this sun though. Although, I do get the impression that you'll have to spend an arm and a leg to buy up from these shops. But who knows, maybe they're all really cheap. Eyeball shop. Let's walk down here, see what we can see. Everywhere you turn, there's something to look at. I do like some of them blades, old Luger there. Here it is, the cathedral. I think there's a wedding going on or something. Well, I might go in and have a look. I'm not sure. Shall I go in and have a look? Someone's getting married. Now, if there was ever a place of worship, something like this is it. I don't know if I should be in here, but I am. I've infiltrated a wedding. Jesus Christ, man. What an absolute mega building. This place is something else. The Alhambra is a fortress and palace built mainly by the Nasrid rulers of the 13th and 14th century. It was later overtaken by the Christian conquest and became a royal residence. It's known for its Islamic architecture, beautiful city views and beautiful gardens. Let's go and explore the Alhambra. At the famous Alhambra. It's an old fortress, palace from people of old, very old place. Beautiful gardens. My only regret is not bringing up any water in my haste this morning, because it was a time in which the shops were not open. Therefore I did not have water, although I did have a singular coffee. Let's go see what the palace is all about. Looks like there's another checkpoint. There's some seriously old stuff down there. Old rocks. Heading towards the palace. The time slot I've got is 10 o'clock. I'm about 5 minutes away, so I'll probably view a few other things as well on the way. I'll probably spend a good couple of hours up here today. Hotel America. Just to get some water. I believe that's the palace, palace number 1. We'll go check out the cannons over there, although they don't look as good as the British cannons in Gibraltar, but let's go check them out. People of old were obsessed with cannons. Yeah, they're cool, much older than the British cannons I suspect, by a long way. pretty cool. Blasting the enemy over the wall. And it's a big wall. A huge wall. It's very busy already. I could be wrong, but I suspect the glass windows were put in after the palace was built. Let's go look inside. This is very old, very old. Every wall you look at has intricate patterns and designs, just like this one, and they go from top to bottom, side to side. Quite the intricate, detailed, and magnificent place to visit. A place of outstanding beauty, I would say. Something you would definitely want to go and visit if you are going to Granada. And to think I almost didn't visit the Alhambra was pretty loco. Every aspect of the Nasrid Palace is exceptionally beautiful. It might not be to everybody's taste, but you cannot deny the insane detail, in-depth intricacy that's taking place within the architecture, on the walls, and the time it must have taken to create such masterpieces. In the famous palace, Nasrid Palace of the Alhambra. And no, not the Alhambra in Bradford. It's pretty cool. We'll continue the visit. Not yet.
Not yet.
The metal. We just came from Seville, so this actually feels pleasantly.
I'm doubtful. This is the highest point of Alhambra. Well, technically that probably is, but I'm not going to climb up there and get locked in jail. So we're on one of the, basically the military point of the Alcabazar, and obviously this is where they will have shot people in the face with bow and arrows and thrown spears into the tops of people's skulls. It's about 40 degrees right now, so I'm making my way down. It's been an absolutely fantastic experience. I'm very much glad that I did it. Going through the gardens of the Alhambra right now. I've explored pretty much everywhere there is to see, or at least I believe I have, especially the main things, and it's been pretty stunning. People from all over the world come here to visit. It is steeped in history. It has very beautiful, intricate Islamic architecture, beautiful gardens, very symmetrical, nice ponds. Yeah, it's a good place. I would definitely recommend it. It's cheap enough as well. Now I need to dodge the daylight sun, the midday sun, and get some food, recharge the batteries a little bit, and yeah, stay hydrated. I'm glad that I'm walking down this hill and not up it, because the camera doesn't do it justice, but even walking down it, you can feel it. I suppose I've been doing 25,000 steps a day for the last 6 days, so yes, I'm feeling it. Through those archways is back into the city. Probably a guard outpost at some point, back in time. Big fat archway. So here we are at the famous Mirador San Nicholas. Let's take a look at the view. I think it's time to go get a beer and enjoy that view, because I'm not moving anytime soon.
Tranquilo, tranquilo.
Sobre la mesa el código QR. Se lo escaneáis, veis nuestra carta.
Ja, okay. Det koster et eller andet, det er lidt.
¿La pueden? Sí, claro.
Walking through the streets of Alhambra or something. I've no idea where I am. All I know is I'm in Granada. Time to go for another beer. Every time you buy a beer in Granada, you get free tapas. They've just brought me something and I have no idea what it is, but let's take a look and eat it. So I've been up to the San Nicholas Mirador viewpoint of the city, where you can see the Alhambra and a few other good sights. Mountains in the background. Been for a few pints at a few pubs up nearby, and now I'm just heading back down into the centre. It's a very, very romantic place, so if you've got a girlfriend or something like that, I would definitely recommend bringing them, because you will literally blow the pants off them. I'm here solo, so no romance for me. Now Granada's a proper Spanish town because they open in the morning till about maybe 4 p.m. and then close for hours and hours and hours, and then everything reopens at around 8, 9, 10. And the city's bustling. It's probably the busiest when it's night time because it's so hot through the day. But it's nice at this time, which is about 8 o'clock, because there's so many buildings that provide enough shade that the sun's not beating down on your skull. Enjoying a last night in Granada with a couple of pints, but the next morning, disaster struck. Now I want to talk a little bit about what happened on the last day in Granada as I headed back to Malaga. Well, before I left, I checked out of the hotel at 11:45. Everything was feeling good and fine. I had a huge breakfast at around 8:30, 9 o'clock that morning, and everything felt good. Got ready slowly, left the hotel, but after about 10 minutes of walking, and I was wearing these exact clothes, as you can see, probably the wrong choice of clothing, but it was a chain reaction of events which led up to this moment. Felt a little bit weird after leaving the hotel. 10 minutes of walking in the high heat. I had a bag on my back. I had 2 bags, one on my back and like a shoulder bag, and I just felt weird after 10 minutes. Felt like the sun was too hot. I felt like I couldn't cool down, and I started to feel a little bit nauseous, a little bit dizzy, and just something was not right. So I took some refuge in a local cafe, sat in front of a huge fan, and started putting ice on my head in an attempt to cool down. But what I realised is I wasn't cooling down, and it seemed to me like my body was failing to sweat and cool down. And with this in mind, I promptly got more ice, put it on my neck, put it on my head, and put some under my armpits, and I was just literally trying my best to cool down and to come back to a normal place of feeling. But after about 40 minutes, 50 minutes, I just kept feeling worse, and so I let the cafe staff know. I alerted them that something is terribly wrong, or at least I think something's terribly wrong, and I had one of them call 112, which is Spanish Emergency Services, and then they instructed the cafe owners to get me into the cafe to lie down and to keep on applying more cold compresses to my head and my neck in an attempt to cool me down and to lie me down so that I would somewhat stabilise. But my symptoms just progressively got worse and worse and worse, and I literally felt like I was going to die. I felt my chest extremely heavy, my heart rate felt accelerated, and I didn't feel right. I felt dizzy, nauseous, like I was sort of in and out of consciousness. Although I didn't faint, I didn't actually lose consciousness, I just didn't feel right at all. The ambulance service turned up about an hour later, and they basically rushed me to the hospital. They put intravenous drips in my arms, and all I can remember hearing when I was being rushed into hospital was urgent, critical. And when you can hear that, you kind of shit yourself, to put it frankly. And I could see that they had brought in the resus machine, the resuscitation device, right next to me, and I was thinking, holy moly, crisis, they're going to have to resuscitate me and I might die here. But lo and behold, after a whole bunch of checks, after blood's been taken twice, x-rays done twice, ECG's done multiple times, everything came back just normal and fine. And it turns out that they didn't give me a full diagnosis of what actually happened. They basically said I was having a fainting episode where I wasn't quite fainting, but my body was basically shutting down because of the multitude of factors such as the heat, dehydration, and so on and so forth. Now, the night before, I had only around 4 hours sleep, and the night before I was drinking quite a lot of beers. And I think the fact that I started off the day walking up to Alhambra and having to find a bottle of water there is kind of set the tone for the rest of the day, the evening, and then the following morning. I believe my body simply sent me the receipt of excessive exercise, dehydration, alcohol, lack of sodium, and lack of sleep and recovery, basically. And of course, the 40 degrees Celsius sun beating down on my bald head probably added to the whole mix, and I had a dash of sunstroke. Now, it wasn't quite heat stroke. I think it was a case of sunstroke, dehydration, and a multitude of factors. But it just leans into the idea of how much you have to keep yourself safe when you are traveling through places which do experience extreme heat. You have to keep very well hydrated, keep a note of the alcohol consumption you are consuming, and just by and large be responsible and careful in what you are doing. Now, would this put me off going to somewhere like this again? Absolutely not. Do I think did this ruin my experience? Absolutely not. But it did just make me a little bit more aware of looking after myself, because you don't really want to be the one who dies in a Spanish cafe and none of your family know about it. You know, of course I wasn't going to die. Of course I'm by and large very healthy and I'm relatively young, so I'm going to be fine. And I was fine, and I am fine. But it did scare the shit out of me, and I just wanted to show this at the end of the video and talk a little bit about, you know, responsibility when you are traveling solo, because ultimately it's all down to you to look after you. There's nobody there to tell you, you know, Jake, drink some water, you know, maybe let's go home and get some rest, or, you know, you've done enough today, you've done 30 kilometers walking, maybe you don't have to walk anymore. These small things, you know. There's nobody there to tell you or to rein you in. It's just all on you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. This was me traveling through Granada, the end of my Spanish saga. Where I will go next, who knows? But stay tuned and you will see.